honestly speaking, I had sort of mentioned that I want to explore being able to combine research and art because I have done research and I do art on the side, but it was never formally like combined with my research. And on a personal sort of capacity, you can't really explore a lot. So I was really hoping I could do that here. But I was really surprised because in my project work, I managed to find the project that allowed me to do exactly that. So I've been actually really enjoying because I feel like I found a sort of practice that can allow me to do that. And because it's sort of translating research into toolkits and sort of knowledge production. And I feel like that's something that I want to explore right now. So I think initially with the fellowship, I was just hoping it could let me explore with really like a lot of things. And I think that's definitely opened up my eyes on the different kinds of things I can follow up. So I think with the fellowship, more than what I had in mind for the curriculum, I had hoped that it would be a space where I could experiment and find different pathways. And I think it's done that. So I'm really glad. I think, yeah, in terms of like backgrounds, I think there was definitely a lot of diversity in like, I mean, academic backgrounds. And even for example, with like job backgrounds, like people, it was nice being in a class with someone who's been in the industry for really long, with someone who's probably graduated like last month. It was definitely very helpful to have those things because I think I am a very outside of the classroom learner. Like more than classroom, I really took a lot from the exposure trips and the I like more than practic. I think the project where it felt like you're almost doing an internship with your faculty and you're getting to work on the projects they're working on. I think it definitely helps to connect outside the classroom. And so, yeah, definitely that structure helped. I think it was very back to back. So that was a little overwhelming because before you know you're out of something, you're already in another thing. So, yeah, I think the different modes of teaching was very helpful because I think, yeah, practice based learning really helps me more than like lecture. And I got that. So that helped. And yeah, in terms of the different ways I was able to use my learning, I think the project thing has been, I think it's different for different learners in UFP, but for me, the project has been really essential in finding clarity. I think without it, maybe I would have known how to use the urban, how to like use these lenses. But in terms of finding my practice, I think project really did it. I've had a very academic background. So I was really hoping, and I'd spoken to an alumni from here who's a batchmate from my degree, and he had said that it'll help because it'll finally help you snap out of that really academic thing. And of course, my academic thing also involved a lot of field work. So that way, practica wasn't very new to me because I had done a lot of field work. But I think the integrative casework, for example, because we were directly taken to people who IHS is working with, but we were really opened up to the kind of like different conversations we can have. So something like we did conversations with waste workers and somehow by luck, I was in one where it was like a lot of workers from Bengal and Assam. So it was like really intimate conversations. And I think I haven't been able to look at waste work the same way again. Because fieldwork is more about your interaction with the field. But this way it felt like, especially with the exposure visit again, it's a sort of like teaching that's oriented in like practice based way where trails and like how we were shown the two cities of Trichy and like Mumbai for me. I think it really helped me see the cities from a particular perspective where we were taken to different points, we were given communities to speak to. So it was very different from just stepping into a city and trying to do fieldwork on my own. It was a very pedagogy oriented like perspective at practice based learning. So I think I really like enjoy that because fieldwork sometimes you're just like, this is a new space, I don't know who to approach. It's a very lengthy process, and because we were so short on time, it really helped to like reach the right places, reach the right people, be given like a background on how you look at them, how you talk to them, and just like, yeah. The classes that I took back most from were the co-taught ones. And only because I think with the one lecture thing, you get to hear one side of the story or just one kind of teaching. And I think especially there was this one economy commons, and in that there were like some 6, 7 of them from some very different backgrounds, and they just brought so many different angles to things, and we were made to do this activity. And I think that kind of a class really just made me feel alive and like take back so much. So I think, yeah, when it was co-teaching, when it was activity based things, or there were a lot of like a single session where one a particular faculty was brought in for a lecture and otherwise it's taught by someone else. I think those really did bring a lot more learning to me, and I could like enjoy it more. The bit about like the practice-based learning felt really contemporary. I don't think it's possible in undergrad, and I don't know if they'll be able to sort of make it and if they turn it into a master's degree. But I think it's something really crucial, and I hope they can preserve it. Um, because I'm doing the No project, which in general felt so contemporary and so important. I think, yeah, I think it's working. I think IIHS as an institute is just working on so many really important contemporary projects, and I just like that the youth is getting to be involved with it. So I was mostly attending the City Scripts sessions that we had, and I also attended Urban Lens Festival. These two I really like tried to make a point to attend because it just felt crazy that our own institute was having these. We also tried to like bring in lots of other people from in the city. And Urban Lens was really exciting because we tried to once also host like a film festival in our university. Then pandemic happened, we couldn't do it. But I think the wide scale of things we got to see so up close, and though we couldn't do like a proper, like we could only volunteer, we couldn't be part of the process of how it was set up. I think it was still like, I think so many of the films were things that I'd really wanted to watch for really long. So of course, on a personal level, I got to watch them. But seeing the scale of people coming in from the city and just knowing all these people are interested in something like this, it was just, I don't know, somehow I don't think I have the right words to be like why it was special, but it was just really nice. When I was taking the project, I was actually quite scared because it's something I've never done before. It said it was communication based, and yeah, I've just done written research. I've drawn on the side, but nothing exactly translating my research. So I had no clue what I was stepping into, and I feel like I wasn't sure who I can get guidance on if it's anything like creative. But so initially when I started, I was actually quite overwhelmed because it's like a lot of these video footages that I had to watch. And initially I didn't understand what the footage was about because I hadn't been in the actual workshops that were being conducted. But yeah, so I think over time, it like with conversations with the mentors and also with the media team and just generally seeing and gradually feeling more absorbed in the things, I found like a possible vision for what to create, and that was a really important moment because I realized that I can do this then. Because before that, it just felt like something I want to do just because I know how to do art. And even though I don't think there'll be anything artistic as a product, it just feels nice because I think it helps me as a learner who faces difficulty in sort of absorbing written content also. And I just find a lot of accessibility issues with written sort of forms of learning. I think in general, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to be headed at a different form of like an outcome for research. So I think it just gives me hope as a learner that I can also like engage in producing knowledge in a different form of way, and also knowledge not being like, I think the sort of aim behind the No project really, like I think half of these things I didn't know when I took the project, but like gradually when I was reading the fact that it wants to go beyond high school education and just like higher education, sorry, and yeah, just it wants to break out of the classroom sort of based learning and it's a space of co-learning. I think it just, it's not just the product I'm creating, it's also showing me ways on like practice that I can engage with in the future. So I think overall it's like a whole journey. While applying for UFP, I was also looking at master's programs. So I was initially hoping to get into master's because it's just when you have a gap year and then after that you start thinking, and also because there didn't seem like a lot of scope for jobs after sociology and anthropology unless you have a master's degree. So I kind of concluded that until I give them the master's degree, I won't be hired. But since now there feels like there's a scope for getting hired even without the master's degree, and I've realized that there should be a greater reason to do a degree rather than just trying to get hired really desperately. Also, because I had a couple of conversations with the faculty and they made me kind of realize that the only reason I was able to take back things from this UFA was because of where I was in life right now. And ideally, with the master's degree, I should be there. So I think for now, I just want to work for like 2 years and I really want to explore this whole art angle that I found and explore before I get into anything.